You are now tuned into My Skin is My Sin on Blog Talk.
And you are now tuned into another episode of Intellectually Petty Radio, brought to you by M3S3 Clothing. You already know, man. Men make moves and suckers stand still. This is your man Jobs, and today I have the distinct honor and privilege of welcoming MoSoul to the platform, Detroit's finest. How you doing, King?
What up, though? What's up, man? I can't complain. Like I said, it's so beautiful outside. It's a beautiful day. I'm doing great.
Man, what up, though, man? I don't hear that too often, man. I live in Cleveland now, so yo, when I hear that, I know where you from for the
Oh,
most
for sure.
part. It's been changing a little bit. People been trying to steal our shit for
Oh, yeah,
lately,
for
but
sure. People that say they from Detroit, but they really from like Royal Oak.
man, and trust me, especially when I see them out of town, they be like, "Oh, I'm from Detroit." No, you're not, bro. You from Livonia.
Yeah.
Well, it's the same thing. No, nigga, it's not.
Yeah.
Stop. Anyway, man, how's you doing? How's your family?
Family's good. Everybody's doing good right now. Like I said, we finally transitioned into spring. You feel me? So, or at least hopefully, because Michigan like this will
Man,
flip on you.
man. All right, man. So where do we start, man? I guess being born in prison.
Yeah, so yeah, I was born in prison. My mother was incarcerated at the time of my birth, so I ended up being raised by my great grandparents. They took
Mhm.
guardianship over me, which I'm very much appreciative of. Um, from that, and now, like I said, people talk about like school to prison pipeline, and I feel like I'm the reverse. Right now, I'm in grad school. I started out being born in prison. Now I'm in grad school, about to get 2 masters or whatever. But even during
Dope.
my collegiate journey. I was homeless for like 2 years when I was in community college. Ended up graduating with honors, being accepted to some dope institutions. Ended up going to Ferris and started my own nonprofit as well, from the hood for the hood. But that's a little snippet of, I guess, my story.
Okay, now let's backtrack a little bit. All right, so how long did your mom have to do?
She was released when I was probably around like 4 or 5 years old.
And did you go back home with her at that time, or did you stay with your great grandparents?
I stayed with my great grandparents a majority of my life. I've lived in my whole life. I've lived a couple years with my mom, like probably like a year my senior year of high school, and then a little bit of time after that.
You went to Cody too, right?
Yep, Cody APL.
Yeah, I'm sorry, bro.
Nah. What school did we beat that you went to?
Oh, come on, man. I went to Henry Ford, the greatest institution Detroit has ever produced.
The only Henry Ford I recognize is Henry Ford College, but man, we time is
You
up.
know, it's funny, man. My cousin came to stay with us one year, and we lived near Cody at the time. So my mother decided she's gonna put him in Cody. Soon they went up there, and it was a fucking riot. Like literally, she's like, "No, we ain't doing that." So he, he ended up going to Ford with me.
Hey, hey, it
So
was
what?
that
What?
was but I'm still proudly a Comet. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not mad at that, man. What were your great grandparents like, or are
Um,
they like?
well, they both passed on, but they some amazing folk. Anything positive that I've done in my life, I attribute to them. Anything negative, you feel me, you can put that on me. But they really were instrumental, I guess, in really aligning me for my purpose. So my granny, she taught me how to play the piano when
Hmm.
I was about 4 years old. I hated it till I found out women liked it. Then I loved it. And the rest is history. And a few of my degrees are music related now to this day.
Okay.
And music plays a very big role within my life. My papa, my great grandfather, he had retired from eating steel, so then he was a jitney. For people that don't know what jitneys is, it was like the Uber of yesterday.
Man.
And I remember going to helping him out, jitneying at Farmer Jack, Kroger's, other places or whatever, and I feel like that really helped build up my entrepreneurial spirit. And then my
Hmm.
granny was also a florist too, so she ran her own florist thing. So all that really poured into me. And at times when I was at my lowest, especially like when I was homeless or whatever, it was just really clinging on those memories and those lessons that they taught me to help keep me going.
How do you end up homeless?
So during one of times and the last time that I lived with my mother told me that school was not for me. She said I was not good enough to go to college when I had enrolled in Henry Ford College. So eventually she actually gave me an ultimatum to drop out of Henry Ford College and work at a factory or to leave her home. So I chose education over a home.
And what's your relationship now? I'm just curious.
And really don't we don't talk. We kind of keep our distance from one another.
I'm sorry to hear that, bro. Do you want to fix it?
I know I'm kind of torn in the thing because it's also like trying to protect my own peace that I've been able to establish after going through everything. You know what I'm saying? To
Mm-hmm.
place that peace again. Because there's been times where we've been at it and like it's been kind of a repetitive circle of eventually we may get cool, but then eventually something happens. So not really. I still connect. I keep tabs on her through my little brother. I have a brother who's 4 years younger than me, and he
Mm-hmm.
does talk to our mother or whatever. So as long as she's good, like basically nobody's doing nothing. You feel me? Because at the end of the day, I'll still protect my mother if anybody did anything stupid or crazy to her or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Just because again, I'm still her son. But as far as the relationship goes, right now, uh,
Not an apology. Not a I was wrong. Not a I'm proud of you. Nothing.
um, not really, like she's through my granddad. She's been trying to like connect and talk, but I really not wasn't
I feel you.
been trying to hear it, because it's like, actions, especially repetitive actions, speak louder than any word can.
I feel you on that. Just my 2 cents, man. You can't fix yesterday per se, but you can always fix yesterday's tomorrow, if that even makes sense.
I know. Oh, you dropping jewels? I ain't gonna
I didn't get this old for nothing, bruh.
lie.
You know, I didn't hated family members too, and I had an uncle in particular, man. I had to forgive him when it was too late, and I kind of regret that. Going to his funeral and knowing that I had opportunities to kind of make things right, so to
Mhm.
speak. Even if I wasn't right, I mean I wasn't wrong, but that's not a burden you want to hold on, especially with moms.
Yeah,
So if you ever get the opportunity, and the older she gets, the more wisdom she accrues, and her perspective will change.
almost
I,
there.
I guarantee it. So you end up homeless. Like what's the first? Are you like literally like in my car homeless, or are you just
Oh,
homeless
at that
sleeping
at
with my
that time,
people?
I didn't even have a car. I was sleeping on in the park,
Oh
sleeping
shit.
at bus stops, sleeping in abandoned houses, fighting off raccoons, homeless, like surviving off of bread and water for months at a time, type homeless. And then, but again too, I was also working at Fairlane, so I would take little bird baths in Fairlane's bathroom or
Mm-hmm.
whatever here and there working. And then I feel like that was stressful because eventually, like I would hide. I had like duffel bags and some clothes, and I would hide them at like a park or something to try and change. But eventually, like those clothes gone, so I only had like my work outfit. So like from my hygiene to everything was like appearing like something going on. So it was it was an experience, but it also tightened up my focus on, you feel me? Like I said, I chose education
Mm-hmm.
over home, and so it really made me really buckle down in my studies, and that's why, like I said, my grades were staying on top of my class, things of that nature.
So you was in high school and homeless, or this was
Oh,
after high school?
community college, yep, after high school at Henry Ford
Wow.
College in Dearborn.
Anybody know?
At the tail end when it finally became kind of apparent because
Uh-huh.
and that's something I learned too. Pride is something else. My pride wouldn't allow me to tell people about my situation. You know what I'm saying? Especially because a lot of times you'll tell somebody about your situation. Sometimes they'll flip that against you or look at
Man.
you a type of way, and I wasn't trying to have that. Like I said, I worked several odd jobs on raise some money, and then like when people did find out, eventually I did get a car. So I went from having to sleep literally in snow to actually now I'm in a car. And I had an '08 Impala, and some professors actually helped me in purchasing that. I saved up some money, and then when they found out about the situation, some professors threw me some cheese. It helped out with that as well. And then eventually, like around time of graduation, I got an apartment, and then to some members of my church family with my church, because I was still going to church, everything. You know, I was a musician as well, so I was playing the drums, whoop de whoop, everything, not telling nobody.
Are
You
you
know, people looking
serious?
at me, some people looking at me funny because I'm wearing the same suit every Sunday, not knowing that if they knew
What you
what,
going through?
yeah, you know what I'm saying. But one family in particular, they had took me in when they did find out, and I became a member of their family. You know, the Mobleys, they really looked out.
Mm-hmm. Hey, shout out to the Mobleys, man. That's a beautiful thing right there, man. But have you learned to trust a little bit more?
I would say yes, but also with that trust, I'm still intentional of whom I give that trust to in terms of
Mm-hmm.
not just anybody, but again, I feel like there are people that I've kind of created like a extended family tree of who I could talk to about situations and
Mm-hmm.
let them know, and vice versa. Because I feel like that's important. Because again, you know, I'm still young, so there's other things that I may go through, and I may still, and I can't always allow my pride to hinder me from overcoming up my situations. You know,
Pride is a motherfucker.
man,
Make you do some silly shit, bro.
man. I look back at it because, like I said, so much could have been avoided within those 2 years of being homeless if I'd have just let some people know.
You ain't lying. What was the first night like? I'm just curious.
That the first really that first couple of weeks was really something, because at first I was like, okay, maybe I could go to a shelter, but then trying to balance job and a
Mm-hmm.
college. By the time I'm out of classes, the shelters they already at capacity, and then too like even looking at how they're kept, I'm like, yeah, I can't. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I would have gotten into a situation because I was more of a hothead then than I am now. You know, but really it was a lot of walking. So especially like on days if it rained or something or it was cold, to try and make sure I stay warm. I walk from Dearborn to Detroit all the way back. Or if I had a bus card or some bus fare, I ride the buses until the last bus goes
Ooh,
on its last stop, and then I walk and make my way back to Henry Ford College in time to get to class.
that's crazy, man. So, okay, you graduated from Henry Ford.
Hmm.
You get accepted to Harvard, right?
Hmm.
But you opt to go to Ferris State.
Yep.
Why? Why? I'm just curious.
Um, so I was able to utilize the fact that I was accepted to schools like Harvard and the University of Michigan and stuff to as leverage and kind of negotiate. I wanted to establish an articulation agreement between the music and recording arts program at Henry Ford College and the
Mm-hmm.
program that I was going to at Ferris, which is the music and entertainment business program, which is really one of the only programs at the time accredited 4-year degrees within that field within the state of Michigan. So creating that pipeline for other people after me to be able to seamlessly get to Ferris and get that degree
Mm-hmm.
with more of the credits accepted and more opportunity for aid and things of that nature. I felt like that was very much more important than going off to a school as prestigious as Harvard. Plus, I started my nonprofit too, so it allowed me to really get my feet wet within the community of which I'm from, you know, rather than taking it to Massachusetts, really doing our stuff within Michigan, you know.
Mm-hmm. So when you get to Ferris State, you tell anybody about your past, any of it, or you just start fresh.
People knew, so like it was on the news and everything. People knew, like, hold on, I seen you on such and such, and I kind of embraced it, and then I realized that I could utilize my story to help somebody else along the journey, so they won't have to go through some of the stuff I went through, you know. So I'm always open about sharing my experiences to people so that they won't go through it, or if they are going through it, maybe they get the courage to not wait as long as I did to ask for help.
Okay. When did you graduate from Ferris?
I graduated last spring. Last spring, yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That had to be dope.
Oh
Who?
man, it was definitely dope. And then, like I said, now I'm at grad school in Michigan here in Ann Arbor. And after that, the goal is law school.
So, who was there to see you walk?
Well, it was virtually, but I was with the Mobleys, of course. So the Mobleys, they set up. We had a drive-through celebration
Mm-hmm.
day of commencement, and then I went out and got lit. I'm not gonna lie, it was like a day party. It was like a rooftop party. I went there. I had my graduation suit on, had my graduation cap, and then too, it was very lit because when people seen the graduation cap, I didn't have to touch my wallet. Probably once like owners and stuff like, oh yeah, go
Yeah.
get a couple rounds, get it. So I was lit.
Hey, that's a beautiful thing. You earned it though, bruh.
Oh, for sure.
You know. And so you say you're studying for two masters now.
Yep. One is MSW, so a Master's of Social Work with a Community
Mm-hmm.
Change pathway. And then the other is a Master's of Arts with a Diversity and Social Justice and Higher Education concentration.
What does that even mean?
Um, so really working more so on pushing to, some people say we could fix the system. I believe the system was never broke to begin with. It's working exactly how it was
Facts.
made. So I'm more of a tear that shit down and rebuild.
I'm
So
with you on that.
working in higher ed, really, working within DEI and not some performative tokenism bullshit DEI, but actually promoting equity within higher ed, having classes like with critical race theory, talking about race, racism, anti-blackness, power and privilege in higher ed, all those things
Mm-hmm.
that need to be talked about, so we could actually go forth to something new because we're going to continue being in this cycle. We keep talking about fixing this system, and it's like I said, it's working perfectly fine for those of whom it was made for.
So let me and you rock with Black Lives Matter, or you did. I'm not sure. Is that still ongoing,
So
or
for me, Black Lives Matter, some people when they hear that they point to one specific organization, whatever. I feel like those three words are bigger than any one organization.
mm-hmm.
Those words are something that society as a whole needs to know is true and no longer not negotiable. Black lives really should matter here in America. And then also I look at it as an accountability piece of transforming our air into action. Like let's see what we can do to ensure that it does in fact matter to all people who are in society. So that's something I'll never be as an activist. I always have to rock with those three words of Black Lives Matter, no matter what one organization may be doing or anything. Because like I said, it's bigger than any one person or one organization.
what role do white folks play?
See, I often wrestle with the word ally because I feel like sadly we use that word very loosely. But I feel like if we had a more firm definition of allyship, and then first accountability, understanding the power and privilege that one holds of being a white person within America, and
Mm-hmm.
then not only that, but then taking a step further, and now you must be willing to sacrifice said power and privilege to make change. Because if not, it's not going to be true change. It's not going to be equitable change.
And I'm gonna put myself in the shoes of an average white person. I'm not willing to give up shit. I'm just not. Like first off, I love acting like I don't have this shit. When I'm confronted with it, I feign ignorance because it's way more blissful. But when the truth actually bings me in the head, the practical situation is I'm benefiting and my kid's gonna benefit.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know that like you say I struggle with the allies. I don't know if the allies will ever truly want to give up something that gives them an edge. And why would they? Like at some point we just numerically going to have to wait it out until it's twice as many of us, until we make it to South Africa numbers basically. and they don't have a fucking choice.
Hmm.
And I think that's what they're scared of. They saw how and South Africa made some mistakes, in my opinion. They didn't punish anybody. And that's why they're having some of the problems they have now.
Hmm.
Had they punished some of those people and held them accountable for their actions, I think they would have had a better, long lasting transition. Like, it was sweet when it first happened. You
Hmm.
know, I don't know if you remember with Nelson
Um,
Mandela.
oh
I'm
yeah,
sorry, go ahead.
yeah.
I don't know if you, but when he got out, everything was sweet. It was celebrations across the planet. We was all kumbaya, and it was wonderful. You know, and looking back, they should have picked Winnie. You know, is there a leader now for black folks
Well,
that's Winnie, not Nelson, but Winnie?
that's kind of that's kind of hard. I will say, in terms of leaders, I feel like sadly we miss out on great leaders because oftentimes people are waiting for the next King, the next Malcolm X, the next Stokely Carmichael, not
Mm,
realizing that the next leader is within themselves. Change. We are the change in which we seek. It takes us having to stand and stand boldly, even if we standing on our own, to put forth what's good for our people. And then I feel like society, anytime you're talking about like black economics or stuff specifically for the black community, they look at you as something negative when all of society, that's what white people been doing. They just been doing the things to continue to build upon their people. So why should we not, even looking at Marcus Garvey, where there are some things where he potentially could have did different, but the baseline of his theory in terms of black economics was spot on, and things of that nature. And then with white people, I feel like going back to you talking about like them being scared of becoming the minority. Data is showing that they're quickly about to become the
yeah,
minority, and that's why I feel like we have all this skewed data where they lump in other ethnicities as white because nobody wants to put in other and have to describe what other is, but they lump them in as white and make it seem like they're still the majority when really they're not, or at least
and
won't.
the whole people of color thing too
Oh
just
man.
really gears my grinds, man. Like stop equating other people's struggle, and I'm not diminishing the struggle of any other people at all, but to try to
Other
put us
other
all
people,
in one bucket
other
when
people
our
receive some
struggle
form of reparations when have
and we
black
didn't.
that's the main difference, and black people, we fight for any and everybody, but again, we're still often at the bottom of the totem pole when it comes to equity.
Man, and talk to me about equity. Explain that to me. The difference between equity and equality.
Okay, well, I'll explain like this. So there's two buzzwords that's going on, especially in higher ed, and in the business world,
Mm-hmm.
diversity and inclusion. Honestly, those words are bullshit and just marketing ploys without equity. So I could explain it with a story.
Mm-hmm.
It's an owner of an apple tree. He like, you know what? I want to be a good member of my community. I want to bring forth some change. I'm going to allow anybody to pick apples from my tree. So he allows three individuals. One individual A, they're very tall, like above average in height,
Mm-hmm.
and they're very easily able to pick some of the regular fruit within the tree. And then you have individual B, who's kind of average or short in standard, so they got to kind of stretch and jump just to pick some of the low hanging, lowest quality fruit from the tree.
Right.
But then you have individual C, and they're very short. Like, so no matter how much they stretch, no matter how much they jump, they can't even reach the lowest hanging fruit. So then the apple tree owner, he gets upset. He like, hold on, this is diversity. I done brought three people in three different backgrounds, three different heights, whatever. Why is there still an issue? Person name inclusion, like, hold on, let me go ahead and tackle this equation for you. So what inclusion does is inclusion gives all three individuals a stepping stool. So now individual A, who already was able to get some good fruit, is now able to pick the best fruit from the
Mm.
top of the tree. Individual B, they're finally able to get around the middle of the tree, but then you still have individual C, And even with the stepping stool, still have to stretch just to get the lowest quality, low hanging fruit from the tree. So there's still an issue. And now the apple tree owner is pissed. He's ready to give up. But just within his luck, a guy named Equity was watching the whole thing, and he's like, "Let me take a shot at it." So apple tree owner like, "Okay, but if this don't work, just hey." So what Equity does, he analyzes the situation. He sees that individual A really doesn't need a stepping stool,
Mm-hmm.
honestly, because he's still able to get some good quality fruit. Individual B, yeah, they do need a stepping stool, maybe two. But then looking at individual C, Equity realizes that individual C needs a ladder
Mm-hmm.
if we're gonna make this thing right. So then after assessing it, he gives everybody exactly what they need to have that level playing field. Now they're all able to pick fruit from the top of the tree and get the highest quality. And that's really, I feel, a display of how equity is supposed to work. But again, people only lean on diversity and inclusion, and that's why there's still so many issues of non-equity. And then too, equality of saying like, oh, equality is like giving everybody, that stand. But equity is again doing that deeper analysis and understanding that okay, well these people for over 400 years have dealt with oppression, have built the economic framework of which we are benefiting from today. These other people are being grabbed by the hand and pulled up to the
Man.
top, and then still have the nerve to call themselves self-made. And that in itself is some crap, but that is really equity at hand, and that's why a lot of people, because equity still comes with accountability. Equity still comes with you having to realize if you are individual A, we're like, well, okay, I don't need it, but I want this stepping stool because now I could get even more, even though I've already been it, so that's a story in itself.
And not only that, like individual A been picking the best fruit
for
for centuries.
for centuries. So
So by the time equity comes along, the tree is already fucked up. Like we
oh
picking
man,
from the worst shit.
yeah. Even though you're at the top, and then even if you get the best fruit, to be able to catch up in terms to be able to feed your family versus they sitting on apples.
Man, and not only that, like A has already picked the best fruit and moved on and used those seeds to grow nothing but the best fruit.
Mm-hmm.
That's a hell of a example too, man. I don't think I've heard it that way. I've seen kind of like cartoon
Oh yeah.
sketches of it, but I don't think anybody has ever put it so eloquently. So shout out to you, man. Um, so you're also a minister.
Mm-hmm. Yep, the hood
How?
preacher. So, and that's what I'm saying. Like understanding my purpose. That's why I know the purpose that I'm walking now was set for me. So the funny thing is that a few months prior to me becoming homeless, and I acknowledged and accepted my calling within ministry.
Mm-hmm.
And then the person at the time who was the leader of the church that I was going to, they felt that I did not look nor talk as a minister ought to, as if the Bible has some kind of dress code with actual description of if you don't talk like this, or if you have hair rather than a bald fade and all this, if you don't talk like this, you know what I'm saying? So it's a lot of wrestling with that. And eventually I honestly said, fuck the calling. Just being honest. Like I said, like it was it's because like during the time I was supposed to be quote unquote trained, like I am in the midst of my homelessness. I'm walking from Dearborn to Detroit to meet with somebody that's supposed to be going over stuff to get that text message like, oh, I forgot, I'll meet with you next week. And this happened several times. And mind you, I only got bread and water in my stomach in terms of what's sustaining me. So I'm really sacrificing. Like that walk took some hours to get there. Now it's gonna take some hours to get back to Henry Ford and things like that. So I felt like it was just a whole bunch of bull or whatever. But then, like I said, matter of fact, stopped going to church to the church, the exact church for a minute. And then, like during those couple weeks, like I went through hell through those couple of weeks when I was gone from church and whatever. And then eventually, like it got to the point where it came to that time where people find out, oh, he's homeless, and like I said, the family took me in
Mm-hmm.
with the whoop, and everything came full circle. And I feel like it was preparing me for a unorthodox form of ministry. Like I said, I believe ministry is the connection to the people more so than the pulpit. You feel me? A suit can't save a life, you know what I'm saying? But your walk and your authenticity with the community can, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I acknowledged my calling was licensed back in 2017. So I'll be this will be my 5 year anniversary in the end of July. 5 years within ministry. And it,
Congratulations, bro.
thank you. And like I said, everything, the way everything worked out to the stuff that I do with my nonprofit and my connection with the people, like stuff that I've done that's been unorthodox with people, the same people that kind of was looking at me like, he don't look like how a preacher ought to look. Don't talk to me. Those same ones trying to add me on my social media or comment like, oh yeah, man, let's connect, do this, that, the third. But at first, you was like, he can't be a because he looked like this, that, the third, or you know what I'm saying. But so I feel like that gave me a unique aspect of ministry, and then even closer, it gave me a closer dive into doing my own research because I'm a type of person where like if you don't want to pour into me,
Mm-hmm.
I find the resources to pour into myself. So there's libraries and things, and I really got connected with Black liberation theology, and I feel like that right there was the grounding point of where you can now connect this to how stuff are happening, like in Black. So James H. Coon, who really did it, like he even foreshadowed talking about like the cross and the lynching tree,
Mm-hmm.
and how white America has oppressed, but again having that hope of being able to rise as community, things of that nature. But yeah, about to be 5 years. Those 5 years have flown by, but
Have you linked up with other activists in the city as far as like organizations? Because there's two guys that come to mind. Niggas Fu, who I'm cool with, he founded the People's Action. You definitely got to link up with
okay,
him.
I want to link up with because I have kind of followed some of the stuff that sometimes it's best to just kind of look and see what people are about, but I really rock with what they're doing.
All right, well, inbox me and remind me. I'll reach out to him tomorrow. I'll call him tomorrow and let him know. Cause I know him personally.
Okay.
Really good dude. Yusuf Bunchy Shakur. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that
Oh yeah,
correctly.
Yusef. I know Yusef. Yeah, me and Yusef know each other well.
Yeah. Matter of fact, I think he's going for his doctorate now.
Yep, yep, man. He just left Michigan because he got his master's in social work from Michigan as well.
Yeah, yeah. I interviewed him a few years ago, and I just kind of like from the sidelines been watching everything he's been doing. Um, but I'm, like, and like New Era, man. Like I was New Era was about to be the Panthers
Oh, most definitely.
of this generation, and I hate that. I don't know. I won't say they fell off per se, but they lost the steam, and it's kind of emblematic of the Black Power movement of today. But they really captured everything. They had lightning in a bottle there for a minute, man. Um, who are you patterning your group after?
That's that's a funny thing. People always say I'm a mix between the Martin and Malcolm. I feel like I got more Malcolm in me because I'll still cut up on you, a little bit more so on that end. But
Although I'm sorry to cut you off, but although I think that's not giving Martin enough credit
oh
for
no, I was about to say,
his Malcolmish.
oh yeah, before his murder, both of them they were
Yeah,
connecting with they were two sides of the same coin.
yeah, and they were getting closer.
And that's the stuff people don't talk about because close the last years leading up to Martin's murder, it was sadly a lot of people's society, black and white, didn't like Martin.
They hated that
They
nigga.
hated him. You
Yeah,
know what I'm saying? Everybody kumbaya talking all this good stuff now and celebrating, but some of those same people they were dogging him. They when he would start talking about why we going to war for these white, and then talking about economics and black economics, and those are speeches that people don't talk about, that Martin also spoke on. That's when people started, oh no, because people got complacent. People like, oh, I got a job at a factory. This is good. I'm not going.
Yeah.
Don't you mess with these white folk, because then we already got good, massive and goods, in other words. But yeah, but with New Era though, going back to New Era, I feel like that was an opportunity for like a generational gaps to bridge together, because I feel
Yeah.
like generational gaps were connected with this org so much, and could be done. And then too, they're still doing stuff. I feel like the media just doesn't really show it too much. But again, I feel like that's the thing with any movement. The generational gaps is what kills movements. And then too, even people that, I guess some people have, I guess, mental brain farts, and think that you can only lead a movement once you got old enough to get SSI or be a part of AARP or something, as if young people have not been leading the movements since forever and a day. My frat brother, Huey P. Newton, was 24 years old when he was one of the co-founders of the Black Panther Party. Dr. King was only 26
Mm.
when he started leading, but again, I feel like that's where the disconnect within the community. We have to come together and work together for the common goal. Too much diffusion is what disseminates our movements.
Yeah. I think my generation and the generation, especially the generation before me, they got too used to being on top.
Hmm. You got to
And
for somebody else.
they did a horrible job of nurturing the next them
Hmm.
out of greed. And my generation don't want to take accountability. They just want to shit on your generation without realizing we created your generation.
Yeah.
And I think where New Era went wrong, it's just my 2 cent, but the whole church thing,
Hmm.
they up until that point, my generation bought into it. Whether they were there at whatever rally or marches or not, we bought into it from the sidelines and was rooting them niggas on.
Hmm.
And when they went to the church, that's when that gave my generation the opportunity to say, "See,
Hmm.
this is what we've been talking about. We was looking for that shit in the first place, and we
Oh no,
shouldn't have been."
because honestly, if it was really an allyship between generations, it could have been easily somebody coming in and having a conversation like, "Look, I see where y'all going, because again, there's nothing new under the sun too. You can see where something about to go left, and be like, look, let
Yeah,
me at least offer this," and then offering it in a way that's not ego but actually love, of like, no, I love you as a brother,
yeah,
and I see what you're doing, and I want you to continue to build on this, and this is why, how I feel from my wisdom, just off my experience, how this may hinder your movement,
yeah.
and then from there we grow.
It's easy to forget being young, bro.
Oh
You
yeah.
know, and that's something I hope that you carry with you through the years. Is don't forget how you feel today.
Oh, can't.
You say it, but trust me, man. Time wears a nigga down.
Yeah.
Like there's some things, like even with myself, there's some things that 20 years ago I'd have quit a job instantly for, or I'd have cussed the motherfucker out.
Hmm.
Now it's like, you know what, that shit ain't even worth it. When realistically, it should be worth it.
Hmm.
So I have to remind myself sometime. So I quit on the ass, just to
Come
make sure I ain't losing my shit.
like,
What is it like to receive death threats?
man. So honestly, I'm really just now kind of gauging it, because in the heat of the moment of receiving them, I was like, "F it, if it happened, it happened." Because I'm always been at a viewpoint of, if I'm dying for a good cause, if I put my life on the line for my brother and sister, you feel me? Did I really waste my life? And I would say no.
Mm-hmm.
If truly in my heart I was doing something that's going to better or strengthen those that come behind me. But then again, from just a mental health aspect of really like sitting down and thinking like, damn, like people was really like plotting on my life and had to really sit and process that. That's really been something huge. And then I feel like the biggest thing was like, sometimes when I would receive letters or something, I'll tell somebody like, yeah, I just got this letter. They talking about whoop de whoop, and then like they'll laugh it off as if it's like yeah, but it's not like as serious. And I'm like,
It
so
ain't you.
yeah, and then I found myself in the beginning kind of fall into that like, yeah, it ain't nothing, but it is something. Somebody wanted to do harm upon my life, it ended. So right now, especially in the School of Social Work, I'm having those conversations of really talking about like processing and actually seeing like how did that do on my mental and things of that nature. Like, and then too, and point, I guess I got to a point because it was I remember it was one specific protest or whatever. Like police came out, they had riot shields, and I was at that point where like I done already received death threats. I was like, I don't give a fuck, kind of like I seen they came with the riot shields, was about to hit somebody. I kicked the riot shield. At that point, I thought I was about to, but I was at peace with it.
Mm-hmm.
Luckily, it didn't happen. Like I guess they didn't raise the crowd, and we actually pushed them back into the police department after that. But thinking of like what is like taking ego and stuff out of it too, and then like growing up in a like what I'm saying, it's either get a kind of mentality like why would I be willing to give them out at such a young age, and really trying to, what I'm saying, because then like understand like I have mentees, I have people that even at the time that I didn't know that look up to me, that look at me for so be it was almost selfish, I feel like, in a sense of me being willing to lay down my life
Mm.
without thinking about those who I am connected to either directly or indirectly, in a
And
sense. So it's that wrestle.
I want to make sure I shout out, and I know I'm about to butcher his name, but I've been fucking with him on Facebook for some years now. Tamuk Scruggs.
Oh yeah, yeah. To my Scruggs, I met him because we both went to HFC.
Yeah. Oh shit, my bad. But that's my guy, man. Really dope dude. That's basically how I end up asking you to come on the show. So shout out to him, man. I gotta give you your flowers, bro. You already know, man. We talked about some shit over the years, man. I'm a fan of his, and I appreciate everything he doing to make sure that this shit doesn't just stop,
Mm-hmm.
and keep it going. In that vein, and you said you had mentees. How do you ensure? It's easy to say, if something happened to me, is it keep going? But how do you ensure that line, that lineage, actually keeps moving forward?
And see, that's where I really got very intentional with not just some people could just call somebody a mentee, but no, like me actually being a mentor and
Mm-hmm.
feeling actually pouring and having those conversations and really not trying. It's not even trying to create another version of me, but trying to help somebody pull out the potential that's with them in hopes that their potential rivals greater than mine.
Mm-hmm.
Especially our younger generation, and thinking about like the talented 10 and pouring into, and then two also something that African proverb Ubuntu, which
Mm-hmm.
means I am because we are, and really
Mm-hmm.
and understanding that really made those relationships of mentor and mentee uh, more intentional and really saying like where I could think of like say if I were to pass away, is there somebody that's connected to me that I know for a fact will not only be able to take the torch, but be able to move. Because sometimes in life, you have people that say like, "Oh, this is the next person," but they're not pouring into that person, and they're setting
Mm-hmm.
them up for failure.
Yeah.
That's something I would never want to do is set somebody up to take the torch from me. And I've even taught them how to navigate through that field of what they're gonna go through because it's it's challenging. If you really about activism, really about doing stuff for Black liberation, like there's so many challenges and into even challenges of people against you when you're trying to do stuff for them. So to prepare the mental state of somebody, the body might be strong, but if that mental state isn't also prepared, then you leading somebody into a pack of wolves.
Man. Um, I'm gonna get one more question, man. I'm gonna let you go. I know you got shit to do, But what's your biggest disappointment in black folks?
Right now is black folks that's willing to quote unquote sit on the fence when it pertains to issues that affect our community. I feel like right now there is no fence. It's either you're for or against it. Is no longer okay to be like, well, if that doesn't bother me, it doesn't affect my house right here, then I'm, you know what I'm saying, that mentality is what stagnates growth in terms of the movement, you know. And then two, I
I
feel
don't
like
know. I think you kind of need people to sit on the fence. Somebody's got to watch. Somebody's got to watch the war to strategize for the next one.
mm-hmm,
Because if you're in the battlefield, you don't see the battlefield
that's true.
completely. You know, and there's a reason, like back in the day when they used to have wars, your generals would be there, but they might not actually participate in the fight. They may be on higher ground looking at the fight
Okay.
to see, okay, these we need to move troops to the back. We need to do this X, Y, and Z, or maybe we got our ass handed to us. But I saw a weakness. The next time I get some more troops, I can do X, Y, and Z and whoop their ass. So I don't know. I don't know if sitting on the fence
You
is
kind of,
necessarily a bad thing.
well, you for sure gave me a different perspective, and that's why I look. That's why conversations like this from different generations having these conversations. Because, like I said, I never looked at it like that, but that does make sense. But two, I feel like um, another issue, if you will, I would say, like, I'm trying to put this in a way where somebody gonna hear it and be like, oh no, you feel me? I ain't trying to be in the same room or something like, oh, he ain't nothing. He just called us some coons or but in a sense, sometimes like we have to. I feel like we have to be bold within our approach and stand for change, not willing to be that. I don't know, like when issues like you should be willing to at least call stuff out for what it is. You know, some people will,
Yeah,
allow white people to do such this that thing, or like turn that mix of why I don't like the word ally. I feel like black people, we have some accountability in that of why that word is so loose right now too, because again, like you said, like black people, we are one of the few people within society that you may stomp us out, do this, the third. We get up, get on, and we'll shake your hand. We'll do this. Like, sometimes we're too soft
yeah,
within our approach. When people talking about people rioting, looting, like y'all lucky that's all people did. If you think about what we went through as a people,
yeah,
but we're the savages. Oh, okay.
yeah. Well, that's some
Not savage
marketing too.
enough in some aspects.
I agree with you, and I know I said that was the last question, but I got one more. I just looked down and realized. So you led a national initiative for President Biden, correct?
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts on him now?
I feel like as activists around the country, like this is time where we need to because he's really shitting in Black America's face right now. Like all these
Yeah,
promises that he gave to us, all these things that were supposed to happen. Shit, student loans. I'm still waiting for a portion of my student loans to be forgiven, but we just put out over 13 $1 trillion, $billion, whatever. It's the 13 past whatever I can afford to go towards Ukraine when Ukraine wasn't even letting black folks out of Ukraine, which
tell him.
you know what I'm saying. So right now, it's again one of those marketing employees, and then people try to say, well, we gotta at least got a black vice president, but my issue with that is that I feel like that's a bigger responsibility because you're black. Now you should be pushing the envelope of our people, of what's right for our people, and that's one thing that I have issue with politics. Sadly, is that oftentimes when we get in politics, we're not doing enough for our community. We're due for any and every other community except ours, and
That's
that
because we're voting instead of purchasing.
mhm. and I said the lack of accountability. And then the thing is, black folks, and it's been this thing like we vote off a name, like local politics. We'll vote off of, oh, I heard that name, or I seen a whole bunch of billboards. I don't know what they're gonna do. They might have said, "Fuck you," whatever. But I'm gonna vote for them because I seen all their commercials. I heard their name, this, that, the third, and then too, we have this complexity of white saviorism. Why does Black America need a white savior to fix the problems?
Man,
When we could fix it within ourselves if we truly empower and equip ourselves to do so.
no white man should ever be mayor of Detroit. Period.
You'll have me on this thing all night if we really talked about that, man. But
I'm just saying that should never fucking happen, bro. But man, I appreciate the bill, brother. If you ever need anything, if I can be of any assistance, please don't hesitate to reach out. I learned some shit, man. Very, very dope, bro. And if don't nobody else tell you, man, I'm proud of you.
I appreciate that.
You know, listen to your mom too, man.
So,
Give her a call one day and just say, "Hey, I just called to listen."
sure.
On that note, man, anything, if anybody want to get in contact with you, how they go about doing that?
Oh yeah, for sure. They can find me on Instagram at MoSoul 1914, MoSoul, the number 1914. They can find me on Facebook at Byron Brooks or at MoSoul, which is my moniker. And then they can find my nonprofit, From the Hood for the Hood, on Facebook.
No
And
doubt,
also
man.
Act Blue. If you're looking for a charity to support, we on Act Blue.
No doubt, man. Go out, y'all out there. You know, all 12 of y'all, go support the brothers. And I don't know why it usually goes live to YouTube, and I don't know what I did wrong this time. However, it's on Facebook, and I'll upload it to YouTube tomorrow.
So make sure y'all support this brother. You know, Intellectual Petty Radio. You know what I'm saying?
right.
Shout out to y'all.
Appreciate
Having conversations that others are scared to have. You feel me? So I appreciate that.
That's why I don't get no. That's why I'm not famous, bro.
It's all right.
I'm not shitting on black folks. I'm gonna have to find somebody to shit on, man, because I need to make some money. Anyway, man. On that note, man, we out. Y'all have a good one, man. Definitely. Hey, don't forget to hit me up, man, so I can put you in contact with niggas Vu too. All right.
All right.
No doubt. Peace out.
Peace.
One.